Tonight, one choice tears open to lives at once. As the ranch sleeps, a packed bag waits by the door. A passport slides into a jacket, and a promise made in daylight is tested in the dark. If Nathan steps across that line, he is not just leaving a place, he is leaving a girl who believed in him, and a family that tried to forgive. And far away, a father fights to come home. When one door opens to America, another might finally open to Lindy. Asterisk, the night is cold and thin. Nathan moves through the barn with careful steps, counting his breath to keep it steady. The horses shift in their stalls, soft and warm sounds in the quiet air. He pauses with his hand on a worn post and thinks of how many mornings began here with coffee and light. And the sound of Amy laughing with Lindy. He tells himself this is not a goodbye, it is a start. He repeats that thought until it feels almost true. In the small room off the tack area, a backpack waits. Inside are tickets, a folded letter for customs, and a photo Lindy took of the three of them after a good ride. He tries not to look at the photo, but his eyes find it anyway. Lindy's smile is open and bright. Ty is not in that picture, but his shadow is there in the stories Lindy carries. Nathan tucks the photo back under the tickets and zips the bag shut. The sound feels louder than it should, like a gate slamming. He checks his phone. A driver will meet him on the main road. From there, the plan is simple. A quiet ride to the small airport 2 towns over. A regional flight to Vancouver. Then a long flight to New York. A cousin's couch. A day job that pays cash. He has repeated these steps so many times that they feel like rails under his feet. If he stays, the rails end. If he goes, the rails run on, straight and hard and clean. He turns to the door and stops. On a hook hangs Lindy's blue scarf. She left it there after a windy lesson last week. He reaches out and touches the soft wool. He should leave it. He knows that, but his fingers curl and the scarf slides. Free. He presses it to his face, breathes in hay and lilac, and then sets it back. The choice is a small one, almost nothing, but it anchors him. He cannot steal even this small thread from her life outside. Frost crunches under his boots. The sky is a deep bowl, the stars sharp and cold. He keeps to the fence line, head down. Every step feels like a test. He thinks of the talk he never finished with Amy. The talk about trust and wait and how second chances are not light things. He had asked for time. He had asked for grace. Now he is taking something else. A different kind of time. A different kind of grace. A light comes on in the house and his chest tightens. He slips behind the old tractor and waits. The light stays on, then clicks off. He moves again. At the gate, he hesitates and looks back at the barn. He sees the shape of the roof and the outline of a world that taught him more than he expected. He mouths a thank you to no one and to everyone. Then he opens the gate and steps through. On the road, a car idles with low beams. The driver does not speak as Nathan slides in and gives a nod. They pull away. The ranch shrinks in the mirror until it is only dark trees and a fence and the faint idea of home. Nathan wants to turn his head and stop looking, but he makes himself watch until the mirror shows only road. He grips the strap of the backpack and feels the edge of the photo under the fabric. He wonders what Lindy will think when she learns. He tells himself she will be better without the storm he brings. Tells himself he will send a message when he lands. He tells himself many things as the car carries him toward the airport and the first border. And each thing sounds like the truth until the next one arrives. Asterisk morning comes slowly at Heartland. A soft light pushes through the curtains. The smell of coffee drifts from the kitchen. And the clatter of hooves outside reminds everyone that the day waits whether you are ready or not. Lindy rubs her eyes, her hair still tangled from sleep, and drags her boots across the wooden floor. She stops by Nathan's door, the one she always knocks on when she wants him to ride with her. She lifts her hand, then lowers it again. Door is already open inside. The bed is neatly made, too neat. The kind of neat that says no one will be lying in it tonight or the next. The small dresser is empty, the top bare except for a folded note. Lindy stares at the space where his jacket used to hang the empty hook sharp against the wall. She takes a step in, then another, her chest tightening with each one. She reaches for the note, fingers shaking before she even knows why her name is written across the paper in a rushed hand. Just her name, nothing more. She unfolds it, hoping for a full page of words, but finds only a few lines. They are careful words, trying to explain without explaining. He writes that he needs to go, that he hopes she will understand one day that this choice is for her as much as for him. No promise of return, no clear reason. Just a space between the lines where truth should baity note falls from her hand to the floor, landing soft but heavy in the silence. She sinks onto the bed, staring at the empty dresser, the bag that is no longer there. For a moment she does not move, does not even breathe, afraid that if she does, the truth will settle deeper into her bones. Her mind races back through yesterday, through every laugh and glance, searching for signs she missed. Did he smile too long at dinner? Did he avoid her eyes when she asked about tomorrow's ride? She cannot remember, and that makes the loss. Sharper Me's voice calls from the kitchen, light and casual, asking if Lindy wants pancakes. Lindy presses her lips together and does not answer. She cannot tell her mother yet, not while the words still burn her tongue. She bends down, picks up the note and folds it again, tighter this time, until it is no bigger than her palm. She tucks it into her pocket like a secret she wishes she never found. Her eyes drift to the window, to the frost on the grass and the trail that runs beyond the trees. She imagines Nathan walking there hours ago, his boots crunching, his face set toward something far away. She feels anger stir, then sadness, then both together, twisting in a way she cannot name. For the first time in a long time, she feels small inside her own home. Like the walls have grown taller and the doors heavier, she stands and pulls the scarf from the hook. The same scarf he once touched, the one she thought she had misplaced. She wraps it around her shoulders, the fabric holding a faint memory of warmth. She whispers his name once, not calling him back, just letting it slip into the air. Then she steps out of the room, leaving the empty bed behind. Carrying the weight of a goodbye she never agreed to, the train rocks gently as it cuts across the open plains. And Ty sits pressed against the window, watching the land roll past. Every mile brings him closer to Heartland, closer to the ranch that shaped him, and closer to the daughter he has only known in stolen moments and fading photographs. His hands are rough from months of labor, his face marked by the weight of too many nights spent wondering if the road would ever end. Yet beneath the weariness, his heart beats with a steady rhythm. Each thump counting down the distance between him and Lindy shifts in his seat and pulls a small envelope from his jacket pocket. Inside are drawings Lindy sent him years ago: stick horses, crooked barns, and a girl with a wide smile always holding hands with a tall man. She had written in block letters, "Daddy, come home soon." Ty runs his thumb over the faded crayon lines, the corners of the paper soft from being unfolded too many times. He had promised himself he would return, and now, for the first time, the promise feels close enough to touch the man across the aisle. Glances at Ty's hands, scarred and marked, and asks if he works with wood. Ty only nods. How can he explain that the scars are not just from tools, but from choices, mistakes, and a life lived too far from where he should have been? He turns back to the window and lets the question drift away. Outside, the land spreads wide, golden grass bending in the wind. He breathes it in, the air smelling almost like home, almost like freedom at the next stop. The train pauses, and Ty steps out for a moment. Boots sinking into the cold dirt of the platform. Child runs past, laughing, a sound so sharp and pure that Ty's chest aches. Imagines Lindy's laugh, imagines her voice calling his name, and for a moment his vision blurs. He steadies himself against a post, closing his eyes, whispering her name under his breath, as though saying it might draw her closer. Passengers shuffle back onto the train, and he follows, gripping the rail as though it were a lifeline as the train moves again, Ty lets himself drift into thought. He wonders what Lindy has become in his absence. Does she ride with the same fire Amy once had? Does she keep secrets in her pocket, folded small like notes of hope? Does she even remember the sound of his voice? These questions circle him heavy, but unshakable. He knows that soon they will be answered, and the thought terrifies him almost as much as it excites him. Night falls, and the train hums steady in the dark. Ty stays awake, staring out at the pinpricks of light scattered across the horizon. Each one could be a farmhouse, a place where a father tucks his daughter into bed, safe and near. He presses the envelope of drawings to his chest and whispers, "Again, just a little longer, Lindy. Just hold on." He knows that by dawn the rails will end and the real test will begin. The morning sun stretches long shadows across Heartland, painting the grass in silver and gold. Lindy pushes open the gate, leading her pony toward the pasture. Her mind is still heavy with Nathan's note, her pocket a quiet reminder of the words she wishes she had never read. She keeps her eyes on the ground, tracing the lines of frost as if they might spell out answers. That is when she hears the crunch of gravel, a rhythm different from the ranch hands, slower, more careful, like each step carries a memory. She looks up and freezes. A man is standing just beyond the fence line, hat in hand, his coat dusted from travel. For a moment, her breath catches, her heart pounding so loud she can hear it in her ears. The man lifts his head, and she sees the face she has only known from faded pictures and bedtime stories. Ty, her father. Her legs move before her. Mind catches up, boots slamming against the earth as she runs. The pony jerks back, startled, but Lindy lets go of the rope and doesn't stop. Her voice tears from her throat, raw and broken, calling one word that feels both foreign and familiar. Dad. Ty drops his hat, his arms opening wide. When she collides into him, the world shrinks to the circle of his embrace. He lifts her off the ground, his hands trembling as though he is afraid she might vanish if he lets go. Lindy clings to him, her face pressed into his shoulder, breathing in the scent of leather and dust, the scent of someone who has lived far away but carried her in every mile. Amy watches from the porch, her hand covering her mouth, eyes bright with tears. She doesn't move, afraid to disturb the fragile moment. For years she had tried to fill the space Ty left behind, but watching Lindy fold into her father's arms, she knows some spaces were never hers to fill. Lindy pulls back just enough to look at him. Her eyes are wet, but her smile is fierce. "You came back," she whispers, the words quivering on her lips. Ty presses his forehead to hers, nodding slowly. "I told you I would," he says, his voice breaking on the promise. His thumb brushes the edge of her cheek, memorizing every detail, every proof that she is real and in front of him. The air around them feels charged, alive with a mix of joy and sorrow. For every heartbeat of reunion, there is also the shadow of time lost, questions waiting to be asked, wounds waiting to be healed. But in this first moment, none of that matters. What matters is that the distance has been crossed. Father and daughter are no longer strangers divided by roads and choices. They are here, together, and nothing feels more powerful. Amy steps closer now, slowly, as if approaching a wild horse, gentle and deliberate. Ty meets her eyes over Lindy's shoulder, and something unspoken passes between them. Relief, pain, hope, a recognition that this is not the end of the struggle, but the beginning of a new one. Still, for the first time in years, the weight on Amy's chest lifts, even if only slightly. The pony snorts behind them, tugging at the rope left loose in the frost. Lindy laughs through her tears, the sound bubbling out, fresh and free. Ty looks down at her and laughs too, a laugh cracked from disuse but full of light. In that sound, the ranch feels whole again, if only for a fragile breath of morning. The kitchen smells of maple syrup and wood smoke, but the air is heavy, stretched, thin as though it might snap with one wrong word. The plates on the table sit half-touched, forks resting still. Lindy sits between her parents, shoulders drawn tight. Her eyes flicking back and forth as if she's afraid to look too long at either of them. She had dreamed of this moment, her family together at the same table, but in her dreams it never felt this fragile, this full of questions no one dares to ask aloud. Ty keeps his hands folded on the table, fingers interlaced as if he's bracing against a storm. Every now and then, his thumb grazes the edge of a worn envelope in his pocket, the one filled with Lindy's old drawings. He wants to slide them onto the table to show her that every line and scribble had traveled with him. But the courage sticks in his throat. He knows she needs his presence now, not proof of his memory. Amy studies him quietly. She sees the weight etched into his face, the lines carved by absence and regret. She also sees the way Lindy leans just slightly toward him, as if her body recognizes what her mind is still learning, that this man belongs to her in a way no one else ever could. Amy takes a slow breath, fighting back the tide of feelings. Relief, anger, gratitude, fear. They swirl together until she cannot separate them. The silence breaks when Lindy pulls the folded note from her pocket. She places it on the table, smoothing it flat with small, steady hands. Her voice is thin, but it does not tremble. Nathan's gone. He left in the night. He left me this. She does not look at either parent as she speaks, her eyes fixed on the paper as if it holds all the answers she never wanted. Ty stares at the note, his jaw tightening. The name alone burns in his chest. Nathan, the man who stepped in when he could not, who now walked away without even a proper goodbye. Ty reaches out, meaning to take the note, but Lindy pulls it back, pressing it to her chest. "You don't get to take this from me," she says, her words sharp, fierce. For the first time, she sounds older than her years. Amy's breath catches. She sees the anger rising in her daughter, an anger shaped by too much loss too soon. She leans forward, her voice soft. "Lindy, he made his choice. That choice was not about you." But the girl shakes her head. "Everything is about me. He left because of me. You stayed because of me. Dad came back because of me." Her voice breaks on the last word, and tears rush down her cheeks before she can stop them. Ty moves without thinking, pulling her into his arms. She resists for a heartbeat, then collapses against him, fists balled in his shirt. His hand covers the back of her head, steady and sure. "No," he whispers. "No, Lindy, none of this is your fault. Men make choices, some of them wrong, some of them right. But they're ours, not yours to carry." His words shake, but his arms are steady, and slowly, her breathing eases against his chest. Amy watches, her own eyes wet, and realizes the truth in what she sees. Nathan's leaving may have left a scar, but Ty's return might be the only balm strong enough to heal it. Still, the wound is fresh, and healing is never simple at Heartland. She knows that tonight's silence around the kitchen table will not be the last. The road ahead will be steep, full of sharp turns and questions without clear answers. But for the first time in years, at least, they will walk it together. By afternoon. The ranch hums with voices that don't belong to the family. Horses still need to be fed, fences checked, and tack repaired. But every worker who passes by finds a way to steal a glance toward the house. They have heard enough to piece together the story. Nathan gone, Ty back. Heartland rarely keeps its secrets for long, and today is no different. Jack stands by the barn, arms folded tight across his chest, his hat pulled low to shade his eyes. He listens to the rhythm of hammers on wood, the scrape of a shovel against gravel, and the whispers just low enough that the speakers believe he can't hear. But Jack hears everything. He spits into the dirt and shakes his head. People love a story, but they forget stories are made of blood and bone. He mutters under his breath, more to the horses than to anyone else. That what matters now is whether Ty's roots can take hold again at the round pen. Lisa leans on the rail, her gaze fixed on Lindy. The girl rides her pony in tight circles, face set in fierce concentration. Each turn of the reins is sharper than the last, as if she is wrestling the storm inside her into the body of the animal beneath her. Lisa knows that kind of ride. It is the kind you take when words are too heavy to carry. She whispers encouragement, though the girl cannot hear it, and hopes that in the spin of hooves against dirt, Lindy will find the pieces of herself she fears she's lost. Stopped by the truck, Tim slams the tailgate shut and grumbles to himself. He is angry at Nathan for walking out, angry at Ty for disappearing so long, angry at Amy for still carrying too much of the burden. He masks it in work, in chores that keep his hands busy and his mouth silent, but the fire in his eyes betrays him. When a ranch hand asks if everything's all right, Tim's answer is short and sharp. It will be. He doesn't add that he doesn't yet believe it. That evening, the community begins to arrive uninvited. Mallory shows up with fresh bread, claiming it's nothing, just an extra loaf from her kitchen. Caleb drives in with an old saddle he suddenly decides needs fixing on this particular day. Even Scott drops by under the excuse of checking on Spartan, though the horse is sound as ever. They each find small reasons to linger near the house. Their presence, a quiet shield around Amy, Ty, and Lindy. Heartland has always been more than a ranch. It is a circle that closes tight when one of its own is hurting. Inside, Amy notices the cars parked near the drive, the extra voices outside. She feels a pang of gratitude, even if she cannot face them yet. She closes the curtains and turns back to her family. For now, what matters is not what the world thinks of Ty's return or Nathan's escape. What matters is the fragile thread binding three people back together. Still, she knows tomorrow the questions will come. Why did Nathan leave? How long will Ty stay? What does this mean for Heartland? For tonight, though, the ranch breathes around them like a living thing. The whispers across the yard, the steady work of neighbors, the shared silence of people who understand pain without needing it. Explained, all of it folds into a quiet promise they are not alone. And while the storm inside the family may still rage, the ranch itself stands steady, holding them up, waiting to see if they will hold each other. Night settles heavy over Heartland. The house is quiet, the kind of quiet that comes only after a day thick with tears and too many words left unspoken. Lindy sleeps on the couch, curled against her father's chest. Ty strokes her hair, his eyes half closed, holding her as though she might slip away if he loosens his grip. Amy watches from the doorway, the soft light from the lamp painting both of them in gold. For the first time in years, the sight feels almost whole. Almost, but not entirely, because on the kitchen table, beneath a folded note from Nathan, sits a phone Amy doesn't remember leaving there. The screen buzzes once, then again, a foreign number flashing in the dark. She hesitates, her hand hovering. Finally, she presses it to her ear, whispering hello into the silence. A voice answers, distant, crackling with static, but unmistakably Nathan. His tone is calm, too calm, the kind of calm that hides storms. He tells her he made it to America, that he has no regrets, that one day, when the time is right, he'll come back, not for Heartland, not for Amy, but for Lindy. The words twist cold through the room, heavy with promise and threat all at once. Before Amy can reply, the line clicks dead, leaving only the hum of emptiness. Amy lowers the phone, her heart racing. She looks at Ty and Lindy on the couch, still wrapped in the fragile piece of reunion, unaware of the shadows stretching across the ocean. She presses her hand against the back of a chair, steadying herself. She knows this moment of calm cannot last. Nathan is gone, but not truly gone. He has planted himself like a seed in their future, a seed that may sprout in anger or longing when they least expect it. Outside, the wind picks up, rattling the windows, carrying with it the sounds of the ranch at rest horses shifting in their stalls. The creak of the old barn, the whisper of trees against one another. Heartland breathes. Around them, steady but watchful. Inside, Amy whispers to herself, "He's back and he's gone. One has returned, one has escaped." But which choice will shape Lindy more? She glances once more at the phone, the note, and then at her daughter's sleeping face. In her gut, she feels the story is far from over. The lamp flickers, the shadows stretch long across the floor, and the house settles into uneasy silence. For now, the family is together. For now, the storm is paused. But across the ocean, Nathan's voice lingers like an echo that will not fade. And sooner or later, that echo will find its way back to Heartland.